I do not want to live in a country with Hamas supporters. I want them deported. I want them chucked out. Simple. If there are people in the UK who are offended by the posters of missing Jewish children, they must leave.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are meeting me for the first time, my name is Clevy and it is so nice to meet you. You guys, we are back with another video, and this is of course Douglas Murray on trigonometry, and it is titled "This is About Survival." Let's dive right into it.
I talk to people like you who are way more clever than me, and to many others, and I say to them the same thing. How does this get fixed? Because what I see is we have an open border. And there is, despite the fact there was a poll done in recent weeks which showed that 92% of Conservative voters and 70% of Labour voters, which was higher than I expected, support deporting people who glorify terrorism. And yet we sit here, all three of us, knowing full well, as everybody watching this does, that despite the fact that we have a quote-unquote far-right government, that is never, ever going to happen.
Well, it might not happen under this government, but it'll happen under one in the future. The first thing is the British public are totally right. I do not want to live in a country with Hamas supporters. I want them deported. I want them chucked out. Simple. And I will do everything I can to ensure that happens. I am fed up, by the way, of the centrist dad hand-wringing era, where people say, oh, but might it be against our liberal values, and might our liberalism... I'm not as interested in that as I am in Britain remaining Britain. I am much more interested in that. At every time of national emergency in our nation's history, we gave something up to survive. We did in the Napoleonic Wars, we did in the wars of the 20th century, and we will have to now. This is the thing we give up, extending tolerance to people who do not extend it back to us. It should be over, that era. The first person who must be deported from the UK and have his citizenship withdrawn is a man called Mohammed Sawalha, who lives in North London. I'm happy to start handing out his address if need be. Mohammed Sawalha is a former military commander of Hamas in the West Bank. He has been living peacefully in the UK, that is undisturbedly, I should say, undisturbed in the UK for many years now. Under the last Labour government, he seems to have got UK citizenship. Now, to get UK citizenship, you have, among other things, to show that you're a person of good character. I would submit that if you are a military commander of Hamas, you are not a person of good character. Now, what is to be done about this man? He is currently not in the UK. He is in Istanbul. And again, I'm very happy to give out his location, should people want it. I do not want that man back in my country. I don't want him here. If he arrives back here, he should be arrested and deported. Now, I would also like him to go to the Gaza. Mohammed Sawalha should not be in the UK. The name of this man is now out there. It was put on the front page of the Sunday Times a couple of weeks ago. I immediately got my lawyers to write to the Home Secretary, the Prime Minister, the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the Attorney General, saying that if they do not prosecute him, I will get a prosecution myself. This man cannot live in my country. He will be the first, and we will see how many more need to come after him. He should not have British citizenship. We do not want him here. We have not benefited from his being here. Let me throw one other name straight out there who should be on the same list. A man called Mohajerani, the former Deputy Prime Minister of Iran. He lives in Harrow. Again, I'm very happy to start giving his address out. Why does he live in Leafy Harrow, this man? We don't know. The last Labour government gave him right to remain in the UK. Who is Mohajerani? Two things might be of interest. One, he was the man who the Ayatollah Khomeini got to write the book-length justification of the fatwa calling for the murder of the British novelist Salman Rushdie. Why is Salman Rushdie's life in such peril and has been since Valentine's Day 1989, and Mohajerani lives peacefully in Leafy Harrow? I don't want him to. Second, apart from justifying and calling for the murder of a British novelist, Mohajerani was also involved in the prison massacres of leftists and communists in Iran in the 1980s. One of his former colleagues has been prosecuted for war crimes in a European court in the last year. I see no reason why Mohajerani should not also be prosecuted under the same crimes. Why should we live with these people? Why should they be here? My forebears didn't fight off generation after generation of enemies, only to have these enemies given the right to remain here. We'd have no need of them. Our country has not benefited from them. Get them out. Get them out. And if the government will not do it, at some point the people will do it. And I would submit that will be much uglier.
And it's, at one point, Douglas, I would have said, this is too far. But the thing, even above the Sir David Amos and coming as a former teacher, the thing that really opened my eyes to the cowardice within our institutions was the Batley Grammar School case.
Yes, absolutely. Shameful.
And the capitulation of the union, the refusal to stand by their member, which is a working class tradition going back
absolutely.
Generations.
One of the finest traditions of the unions.
And they just abdicated responsibility. And it just shows, for me, that there is very few people in power who've got the backbone to be willing to tackle this.
I think that's right. Well, the people who do want to tackle it will come to power.
Well, Douglas, this is a thing that has been discussed, and I want to raise with you. I mean, I agree with you. And I saw Ron DeSantis, the American presidential candidate. He gave a speech in which he said, the point of immigration is to bring people who are going to benefit our country. And I thought, I haven't heard someone say that for about 20 years. As
in
a
the
politician.
UK.
Yeah, quite. Which to me seems like a fairly uncontroversial statement, actually. But the argument that I see going around online, I mean, these people specifically that you're talking about, I think few would argue about.
Oh, I bet they would. But anyway, well, if they don't argue about it, why not do it?
Quite. And I want to come back to that as well. But the one thing I see is particularly American commentators say, well, look, the right in particular has been banging on about free speech endlessly. And then you have these people go out on a protest and suddenly everyone's saying they should be deported. What do you say to those people?
First of all, not everyone's saying they should be deported. A small number of us are. Yeah, I have some friends on the sort of libertarian right, as it were, as well as people on the left who say, but you're such a free speech activist. How could you deny the rights of free speech to people who simply want to stand outside synagogues taunting Jews for the murder of their fellow Jews? Well, this is not a practice of free speech. This is not an interesting test case of free speech. It's very straightforward. Throughout our history, as I mentioned earlier, we have repeatedly been willing to say that certain things trump our most cherished values, and the main one is our ability to survive. I would say that, at the moment, we are at a very important point, not least with policing in the UK. The protests that have taken place in recent weeks, and the protests that have already been announced for the weeks ahead, have been a great test for the Metropolitan Police and other police forces across the UK. And it is a test that they have failed monumentally. Now, I know the policing decision they've made. Part of the policing decision, clearly, is that they will observe the crowd and they will see if anyone breaks the law. And if they do break the law, they may get a visit at some point later from the police and they may be arrested. This happened in the 2000s with Anjem Chowdhury and the group members of Al-Mujahirun. It was a very similar thing. There was once actually an occasion when Al-Mujahirun came for me personally in the streets of London, and I was amazed that the British police didn't do more to protect me or, well, anyway. And it turned out that they were doing the same thing, which is they hang back in order to arrest people later. Well, here's the problem with that. The world only sees the crime being committed. The world does not see the follow-up. The world is very interested in watching the streets of London at the moment. and are horrified by what they see. They do not see the tiny number of arrests that the Metropolitan Police has been willing to actually carry out of people who are supporting Hamas on our streets.
Yo, where do we start from? You see, every single time I watch Douglas Murray on the channel, I get one or two comments saying, oh, this is an old clip. This is from like 10 years ago. This is from old. Where is he now? Those sort of comments are always coming up. Now I'm wondering what they would say about this recent clip right here. What would they have to say now? And can you see the consistency over the years? You're complaining a clip is 10 years ago, but he's still saying the same thing he has been saying since then. Can you see that no one is actually listening? These are not new things he's saying. He's saying things that he said years ago. And still today, he's still saying, when he says that nothing has changed, instead it's getting worse. Nothing has changed, yet it's getting worse. Every time he talks about, the immigration, every time he talks about the war, it's always been it's been consistent throughout, you guys. And every single time this problem comes up and we talk about this on the channel, I say something. When in Rome, you act like the Romans. You don't come to impose. You see, this is their way of life and you act accordingly. I once shared a story of my friend when she was traveling to, one of the Muslim countries, and she was told by the travel agent she wasn't going to be wearing bomb shot outside, or a shorts she wouldn't wear them outside. They gave her a list of things she wouldn't do on that trip. And I saw my friend literally change every single outfit just so that she can abide by the place. She was going to spend like 2 weeks, but she literally changed her entire outfit so she doesn't step on anyone's toes and so she doesn't cause trouble. She just wanted to enjoy her stay. So why is that not the same thing? Why are they not using that same straw to measure? If you were going to the West, you don't try to impose. And it's funny because you come into a place and then you hate the place that opened its borders for you. So if you hate it so much, why did you come? That's ah. If you hate it so much, why did you come? There are other places you would have gone to. So why come here? Because I keep saying it on the channel. I know there are so many reasons why people leave their country. So many reasons. But I keep saying it's what they do when they come that makes it like you try, you fight, you find all the possible means to cross the borders. You really want to come, and then you come, and all of a sudden you hate the country, and you're like, what is happening? It's as simple as that. Everywhere would be peaceful. And for the war, for the Hamas and Israel, I would say it and say it and say it and say it again. This is not a time to pick sides anymore. The war has dragged on for so long. Every side is always saying they are right. No side is admitting they are wrong. What I just want is for peace to reign. If there is a protest that will be done, that peace should reign. Call me, I'll be number one there. It has dragged on for so long. We've had so many casualties, so many lives lost. So many lives lost. Let peace reign. It's enough. Enough is enough. I keep asking, what do you think can be done? Because just outright protest and carrying different countries the flags is not it no more. Like, you've been protesting since. What has changed? What can be done? What exactly can be done? Because you're completely saying people should leave a particular land. I don't think that's even an option. How can these two places be at peace? Is what the world should be after, and not picking a side, choosing a side, helping this other country, giving arms to this other country, doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. What exactly? And we watched the other interview the other day, still on trigonometry. We watched the video of about the word from the river to the sea means. We will watch the video here on the channel. You can see, like, it has dragged on for so long. We just need an end to all of this and for peace to reign. You guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. What your thought, what's your own opinion. As usual, be respectful. Not everyone would agree with whatever you say, and it's fine. Not everyone will type what you agree with, and it's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. All right, you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.